Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Carnivore Evolution podcast. Today, we have another special guest. Today's guest is Patrick, all the way from Spain, Ibiza. Patrick is an ex-vegan. It's amazing how many ex-vegans we get on this show. It's unbelievable. He was vegan in the past, and now he's carnivore. He's actually teaching this himself. He works with women over 40 years of age. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this conversation today. So with that in mind, let's get started. Patrick, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, it's absolutely it's a pleasure. So Patrick, give me a little bit of feedback. Give me some update about you. Like give me some backstory about yourself.
Right. So, basically, my nutritional journey started around 2009. I li used to live in Thailand. I lived in Thailand for 11 years, and I did a lot of Thai boxing, all recreational, no fights. But I trained a lot, and I started to realize. So by that time, I was about 35 years old. I started to realize that my energy was that I wasn't recovering. Let's put it that way. I wasn't recovering, and I didn't know why because I still felt like I was young, at least at 35 years old. And then somebody introduced me, surprise, into nutrition and said, like, well, maybe you should have a look at your diet. So somebody handed me the
Hmm.
book Nutrition for Dummies. You know those yellow books, Nutrition
Yeah,
the For
yeah,
Dummies series. And I read that and I was like, oh, okay, so that has to do with the way I eat. And I was having a terrible diet at the time. I just ate well, I lived in Thailand, so I wouldn't say the standard Western diet, but I definitely wasn't eating for performance. Fast forward a little bit, I met the mother of my son. We separated a long time ago, but I met her and she was already into holistic health and more into veganism and acupuncture and things like that. And she basically introduced me into nutrition and I got really interested in it. I got interested in nutrition and I got interested in vaccines. She got pregnant of our son. And we started talking about vaccines, and I was very pro-vaccine because that's how I was raised by my parents. And she basically showed me the other side of the coin. Um, and I got very interested in nutrition as well. So eventually, in 2012, I studied at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in the States online, and I did a nutrition holistic health course, nutrition coach, a course there. And by that time, we had a little health food cafe on the island in Thailand where we lived. And because she introduced me into veganism and she introduced me into what became my Bible for many years, the China study, I'm sure you've heard about that one. Um,
mm,
I was a big proponent of veganism. I totally understood how meat was the devil, and if you just cut meat out of your diet, you're going to be healthy and you need to eat raw. So I became a raw vegan because raw is the best thing because it keeps all the nutrients and blah, blah, blah. I probably don't need to tell you that story. So I worked as a health coach at the time in Thailand. I helped people out getting into better shape, well, mostly better health through a vegan diet. But I wasn't doing so well myself. And I didn't really know what it was because I was doing the right thing. I was being a vegan. I was eating all these green leafy vegetables. I was drinking these massive green juices every day. We called them rocket fuel because they had everything in there and I drank them straight up. So no sweetener, no fruit juice in it, just
mm,
pure vegetable juice. And it just didn't really work for me. When we eventually moved to Ibiza, because I come from a family with a very kind of I don't come from a French family, but like the French kind of style, big tables with food and drinks and lots of alcohol and stuff. So when I moved back to Ibiza, I turned more kind of a vegetarian because I noticed that just eating vegan and especially raw vegan, there was nothing left of me. At one point in time, I guess I was only 60 kilograms and I'm 1 meter 76 and I was like skin and bones. So I did start to eat a little bit of meat, but I did it with a lot of I didn't want to eat meat because I still had that thought in my mind that meat was the devil incarnated. Now we fast forward
mm,
quite some years to 2023, and one of my best friends who used to live in Portugal at the time and who organized retreats, he introduced me into Anthony Shafee, and he basically had a lot of problems with mental issues. He turned keto. he noticed that that helped him a lot. And of course, as you know, when you start looking things up online on YouTube, you look for keto, automatically it starts feeding you keto related stuff. So it started feeding him carnivore videos. And he was really intrigued. So he learned about Anthony Shafee, and then he sent me this video, this presentation, I'm sure we all know it, from Shafee, where he speaks is like a lecture. It's called Plants Are Trying to Kill You. And he sent it to me. And I watched it and I was like, oh, you must be kidding me. Plants are trying to kill you. I just didn't get it just yet because
mm,
the cognitive dissonance was just too big.
mm,
When I went to meet him half a year later or see him in Portugal, he said, like, listen, I'm full carnivore. Are you willing to join me for the week that you're here? And I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a try. So I ate just meat with him for a week. After that week, I went home, I flew home, and I just arrived home and I was buzzing with energy. I felt absolutely amazing. Now, about 10 years before that, when I still lived in Thailand, I did a lot of CrossFit. So I really liked that kind of type of exercise. So when I got home and I was full of energy, I was like, oh, I need to do something. I'm very energetic by nature anyway. So it's like, okay, I need
mm,
to do something with the energy. So I work from home. The job that paid my bills was web design. So I thought every time I get up from the computer, every time I need to go to the toilet, every time I go to the fridge to grab something, whatever, I'm gonna do 10 push-ups. And 10 push-ups became 10 push-ups and 10 squats. And then I was like, okay, I need to get a proper workout routine in. So because I had this CrossFit background, I really enjoyed that kind of high intensity, a lot of body weight training focused stuff, which you can easily do from home. So I got myself an app, started following the app, started gaining weight. I wasn't that skinny anymore by then, but I was still skinny because by nature I've got a very skinny build. I started following that app, and within months, having a carnivore diet and working out just changed my life. However, I didn't straight away say goodbye to the vegetables because I couldn't. It was impossible for
mm,
me to straight away believe that not eating vegetables was a good thing to do. So I was basically eating keto, if you wish. I was just eating meat and vegetables. And then over the months, it took, I guess, 3 or 4 months, I slowly phased out the vegetables and came to the realization that I'm totally fine with meat. And that I
mm,
actually am not just totally fine, I'm thriving just on a meat diet. So when I went to see my friend, that same guy who introduced me into it, the year later when I visited him again in Portugal, he was like, "Man, you look fantastic. You look better in your face. Your skin looks better. My body had changed completely. I'd put on at least 6, 7 kilograms of muscle because it wasn't fat because I was still wearing the same clothes and the same swim shorts as I was wearing before I started this whole journey." And because I have my background in health coaching, he said, why don't you go and work and do something with this? Because you are just the best example that this is working. Since I was looking anyway of phasing out my web design business and wanting to do something that I can basically keep on doing, I'm 51 now, that I can keep on doing in my 60s, in my 70s, my 80s, and I'm not going to design websites when I'm 80 years old. Moreover, AI will probably have phased me out totally by then anyway, if not well before. I was like, well, that's
mm,
actually a good idea. And I love helping people and I'm passionate. I used to be a dive instructor for many years. So I know what it's like to teach. I'm a good teacher. I'm good with people. I can speak for groups. I can speak one-on-one. It's like, actually, that's a really nice idea. So I set up my business only a year ago. So 1 year ago, basically now in September, to help people with carnivore diet, but also with working out. And I focused first on men. So I was focusing on men 40 plus. And I got myself a group together and it was absolutely amazing. The guys were just killing it. I mean, that gave me even a bigger buzz than being on carnivore, just seeing other people thrive. Because I feel like there's nothing more beautiful in life than helping people, other people, helping them become the best version of themselves.
mm,
And then I had a friend of mine who said, a lady who said, like, listen, I need help. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm at the end of my wits. I'm just gaining weight. I feel terrible. Can you help me out? I was like, well, the thing is, it's completely different for men than for women than it is for men. I cannot just take my program and apply it to you because you're a woman and you're probably in menopause or close to menopause, and I didn't know anything about that. So I told her like, okay, give me a few. Well, no. At first I said no, but she kept on asking, and like I said, I want to help people. So I said, okay, give me a few months to really get to really get the grasp. It takes years of studying, but at least to get a solid understanding. So when I work with you and you're going to be my guinea pig, I'm going to learn from you as well. Um, that I at least have a bit of an understanding what is going on when you're 49 years old. And then I was like, well, I might as well get a group together instead of just working with one person. So I got myself a little group of ladies together. I studied everything as far as I could within such a short period about perimenopause, about menopause. I got really into Dr. Stacy Sims. I don't know. I studied everything that she was speaking about, although she is vegan. So I just basically I shoved that part aside because I wanted to do it with the carnivore diet. But when it comes to like how do women in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, how are they supposed to train? Um, Basically everything that it just really resonated what she was teaching, especially that she says, and I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she says like women are not small men. And I came to the realization that a lot of the things that we're being taught are actually all applicable to men. A lot of the studies that are being done are done on men. There is not so much, there
Hmm.
is, but by far not as much information out there for women. And she just really made sense. So I integrated her kind of workout way of working with women in perimenopause and beyond into my carnivore program. And that is kind of where we are now. So I work with both men and with women for basically over 40, if you wish. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world, Mark. It's amazing. I
Mm.
seeing people thriving, seeing people going through a lifelong of all these different diets, and especially, of course, women who are being told to eat less, to eat more salads, to be on the cardio, all to do all these things that are clearly not working, because if they were, they wouldn't be struggling. To see them going on a carnivore diet, or at least on a heavy animal-based diet, not necessarily always pure carnivore, because I would integrate some based upon Stacey Simpson's idea as well. Depending on where they are in their monthly cycle, I would integrate some berries, some low carb fruits, basically to help them through the last phase of their cycle. But basically, it's
Mm.
you could say 99.9% animal based. To see them thriving, to see them shedding weight, which is just a byproduct of thriving, of course, is just the most beautiful thing in the world, and that's where I'm at now, basically.
That's honestly, it's absolutely amazing. You're doing an amazing job. I just want to go back to when you made the transition from veganism to meat, because this is usually a hard conversation to have with people. I can only imagine if you've been vegan for such a long time and then you have a piece of meat in front of you. Talk me through the mindset. What's the mindset switch? Did you switch straight away? Did it take a bit of time? Like, talk me through it.
Yeah, well, like I said, because I come from a family where we had big, massive meals and it was very much meat based, nothing carnivore, but at least very much meat based. I wasn't a stranger to that. I've been doing, I basically the first 35 years of my life, I ate meat on a daily basis.
Okay, okay.
So it
Okay,
wasn't, it
so you were
wasn't,
okay. Okay, so you were you. It wasn't like you went for your life without eating meat at all. It was like just it was only for a
no, no,
short
no,
period of
no.
time.
It was.
Okay, okay.
I guess it was for maybe 4 or 5 years. And it was also not from an ethical point of view. It was really because I thought that meat caused all the diseases that we're seeing these days
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
world. Then actually, which is maybe a nice thing to mention as well. So are you familiar with the China study, that book from T. Colin Campbell?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. Yeah, yeah. I've heard of.
So I held that as my Bible. And then I came across this guy, and you probably might know him as well, Chris Masterjohn.
Oh
he
yeah, yeah, yeah.
had,
No, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
he had lots of rebuttals, if that's the right way of pronouncing it, against the China study. And I read that, and I was like, well, actually, this guy makes a lot of sense as well. So
Mm,
slowly,
mm,
the China study started to kind of crumble, if you wish. So by the time
yeah.
I started incorporating meat little bits into my diet, I had already started to see that just being vegan was not the best way to go. But it was really hard to admit to myself that I actually had made a mistake in a sense. That
Yeah.
actually
Yeah, yeah.
what I thought once was the best way forward, and that I've been helping other people with a vegan diet, was actually really not the best thing. So that was pretty hard. And the mind, man, the cognitive dissonance is really, really strong. So
Mm,
it wasn't easy in the beginning, but I saw that basically there is a vegan agenda, and that when I went in it, I really thought that I was doing the right thing. I really thought that when I read the
mm,
China study and I was following, like, what was his name? Dr. John McDougall and Neil Barnard and Caldwell Esselstyn. And, well, there's this whole group of vegan doctors. I really thought I was doing the right thing. And when that started to
mm,
kind of crumble, I came to the realization that also in nutrition, out of all the sciences, there seems to be no absolute truth. If you go into mathematical
mm,
science, 1 and 1 is 2. We cannot argue about
mm,
that. That's just how it is, to make it really simple. But in nutrition, I
mm.
started to realize that there is a big agenda from a lot of people, and that what I was taught that would be best, being vegan, was actually not the case. I did keep on drinking my green juices up until I became carnivore, because
Oh
at
boy.
least I thought, if I do my green juices, man, the amount of spinach, raw spinach, I
Mm,
had
Oh,
put in my juices, I
yeah.
cannot believe I never got any
Mm,
kidney stones. I went through kilos
yeah.
of that stuff. Unbelievable.
they may
But
Mm,
so yeah,
come yet.
the transition was kind of slow, but I had to see that the this image that was being portrayed by the vegan community, and again, not from the ethical point of view, but purely from the health point of view, was actually not as honest as it was, but that it had an agenda. And that was a hard pill to swallow, because it's hard to admit that maybe you've been wrong or
yeah.
you've been
Yeah,
fooled.
it's difficult. I have a
Yeah.
question for you, Patrick. You
Yes, please.
mentioned that you changed your program for women, adjusted for menopausal years, and you mentioned fruit as well. What dietary differences, if any, do you apply for women clients, for female clients versus your male clients? What's the difference dietarily for women with you?
Just the introduction of some fruit in their third week of their cycle, and just before menstruation,
Really?
if they want. They
So
don't have to, but if
how does the fruit
sorry.
work to how does the fruit work to
Well, what I studied
do anything with the
from
sun?
Stacy Sims is that when you're in the luteal phase, that the body can that the hormonal system and the body of women can do with a little bit of carbohydrates. And that's not for
Mm,
necessarily for everyone, but I just give them the option. When we look at men in general, I feel, are much more meat eaters anyway. If you
mm,
tell guys, listen, you're just gonna eat meat for 3 months, they're like, yeah, bring it on, fire up the barbecue. For
mm,
women, it's a big step, especially because a lot of women come from much more of a salad based, you need your eat your yeah, your salads and your vegetables background. That, of course, is more a mental aspect. But what I came
mm,
to learn from Dr. Stacy Sims is that adding some carbohydrates, especially when you work out as well, because I integrate workouts in my program. It's not just only the food; it's also a workout program. That adding a low amount, and we're staying well below keto amounts, right?
mm,
Of
mm.
carbohydrates in the luteal phase can be beneficial for some women. I only do it.
How about
I only,
sorry,
sorry.
I was going to ask about fat for women. How do you adjust the fat? ratio
I
to
don't.
protein.
I don't.
What do you
It's
mean
the
you
same.
don't?
Well, compared to
And
men,
what
I don't.
proportions do you recommend?
I don't really do that because the thing is, in my opinion, women have been living so long needing to portion out everything they do that I feel that for women, but both for men as well, just eating a species appropriate diet is enough. If
Mm.
I don't ask them to start looking at, oh, make sure it's 70% fat and it's 30% protein, the way I ratio fat for anyone, whether it's women or men, is just based on their energy levels and their sleep. So do you
Mm.
sleep well? Because sleep for me is the third pillar, right? There's nutrition, there's
Yeah.
exercise, and sleep,
Yeah.
of course, is a very important one. If you have
Yeah.
trouble sleeping and you do everything right and you wake up in the middle of the night, and women, especially in perimenopause, have a much more cortisol, a much higher cortisol. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't fall back asleep again because you got the monkey mind going on, having a little bit of fat before going to bed, for example, can be very
Hmm.
beneficial. But I'm not
Yeah.
telling them make sure that 70% of your diet is fat and 30% of your diet is protein. Just eat fatty meats because
Hmm.
nature already provides the right ratio.
Exactly. Yeah. 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah. I'm pretty much the same as you, Patrick. Well, I work with an awful lot of women, as you know, and some women need to keep the carbohydrates in regardless of what you say to them. Regardless, they're just like, you know what, I know I need to have the little bit of carbohydrate, and I'm like, okay, where's the best time to put them in? And I'm like you, I'll put them in before the workout. And the reason why I put them in before the workout, because it's the ideal time. You're going to burn it off. We know with sugar, you can burn it off very, very quickly. Same with the
Yeah,
luteal phase. When I work with women that are going through menopause, the big issue I see, especially when they're going through their cycle, is stress. They're going through an awful lot of stress that has an impact on
yeah,
blood sugar. So it's like, okay, what do we need to do here? So some women can get away with it, some people can moderate it, and some people can abstain it. So a lot of women that I work with would need to abstain. They can't get away with eating the fruits or the sugars or anything. It just sets them off. But there
yeah,
are other people that can moderate a small amount of sugar during
yeah,
that phase. And I'm like you, I'm like, okay, what can we add in? So we're looking at the glycemic index. Okay, let's work on the lowest as possible. So a little bit of fruit, maybe some strawberries, maybe some blueberries. And like you,
yeah,
it's very, very minimal. It's around 30 grams. It's very, very minimal. It's not going to have an impact on blood sugar. It's not going to have an impact on insulin. And it actually works perfectly well.
yeah,
Perfectly well. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm in totally agreement with you. It just comes down to the individual because at the end of the day, everybody's different.
Absolutely. Yes, and what you say is very true, Mark. I mean, in the end, we're being raised, unless you come from a carnivore family, but 99% of all of us are being raised as carbivores, right? Our main
Yeah.
source of energy comes from carbohydrates, and we turn into sugar monkeys, addicts.
Mm.
We just we need sugar. We run on sugar, and so when
Mm.
we're well, with any addiction, once you've been addicted to something, you should never touch that
Yeah.
substance again, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol,
Exactly.
gambling,
Yeah.
sex, well, sex, but porn, watching porn online and stuff like that. There's a few people, I'm actually one of them included. I've never been really addicted to carbohydrates. So I can eat some fruit and
Mm.
I'm fine. I don't straight away have a sweet
Yeah.
tooth, but some people cannot have
Mm.
some carbohydrates because it just sets this addiction back into motion. And that is
Exactly.
something that we really got to be careful for when in the program, but it's why I do the 3 months program, so they can test this as well. They can see whether it works
Hmm.
for them or not. And for a lot of people, men included,
I think,
it just doesn't
yeah, I
work.
think that, yeah, yeah. I think that's extremely important, Patrick. I say this to clients as well that like you need to experiment. So like
Yep.
if you're going to do carnivore for like 4 or 5 months, I have no problems with that. But I always say to people after five months, okay, now we need to experiment. we need to experiment the foods that you used to eat in the past, so you can actually notice the impact these foods have in your body. Now, if you're eating a piece of fruit and it just sets you off, you're getting those signals to your brain saying, listen, okay, sugar's coming here, I want more of it. Well, then that's a box ticked. We're not doing that anymore. Same with other
Yeah.
Foods, anything at all. It could be anything at all. And I think it's extreme. I did it myself. I've been carnivore now for just over 4.5 years now. I've experimented with everything that I used to eat in the past. For me, I will never be a moderator, never,
Yep.
because I've moderated the sugar, I've moderated the fruit, and it just sets me off. So I'm like, okay, well, listen, that's not going to work. And it's not just setting me off. I can notice that my gut issues are returning, my mental health issues are returning. I just don't feel good.
Yep.
So I know that, okay, I need to be strict carnivore. But there are people out there that are metabolically flexible. I have a lot of people in the carnivore community that are friends of mine, and they can get away with eating very, very little amount of carbohydrates. And it's amazing because they can have like a small piece of chocolate and they'll be fine for the rest of the day. For me, if I had a small piece of chocolate, I'd have to eat the whole block.
Yeah.
The whole block.
Yeah.
And will lead on to something else. So what, like it'll just be like a drug. It'll be like, oh my God, like I'm enjoying this now. I want more of it, and I can't switch it off. And I think people need to understand that. I think people need to understand that if you've got a problem, you need to understand you have a problem in the first place. And this is what we're talking about, addiction. Because when we look at what's going on in the world at the moment, everybody's just focusing on, okay, if you've got a problem, you just need to lose weight. You need to be in a calorie deficit. That's all
Yeah.
you need to do. In order for you to be healthy, you just need to lose weight. Forget about the food that you're eating. It doesn't matter. You just need to lose weight. And that's where we're going wrong.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's unsustainable
Yeah.
because you're asking an addict
Yes,
to,
exactly.
asking an addict just to
Mhm.
lose weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that because
No.
they
Yeah.
will eventually binge. They're going to be in a caloric
Mhm.
deficit, which of course works for weight loss. I mean, if you're in a caloric deficit, of course you lose weight because you're in a caloric deficit. But then what happens eventually when the willpower subsides, and that
Mm-hmm.
willpower really doesn't last very long,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to end up binging, and that is possibly even worse than
Mm-hmm.
you're worse off than you were
Yeah.
before.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
they're
see,
losing muscle mass.
yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like
Yeah.
we only spoke, myself and Victoria only spoke about this the other day about the elderly. We spoke to Jackie, a client of mine. We were talking about, like, listen, the one thing you want to be holding on to when you get older is muscle, because the likes of sarcopenia kicks in. People are getting hips broken, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, what?
Bones. It's very
Yeah,
important for bones to have
and
protein.
and then when you look at what these people are doing as they age, they restrict themselves. So they go in these massive calorie deficits. They're eating more fruits. They're eating more vegetables because they're told that this is what they need to do.
And
They need to
grains,
eat more
breads, and
greens.
cereals.
So you
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
so you can clearly see that they're losing weight, but they're losing muscle as well, and they look terrible. They look
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely terrible, and
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
very, very sad to see. It really is.
Yeah. No,
I want to,
absolutely. And especially,
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, if you want to finish this topic, I wanted to ask you a different question though.
Okay. No, but I wanted to say, just in extension to what you were just saying, Mark, exactly, and especially at that age, when you're a woman in your 20s and early 30s, depending on when perimenopause sets in, because that
Mm,
of course can set in quite early with some women
mm,
as well, but
mm.
you can get away with a lot. You can get away with these things without really losing too
Yeah,
much muscle mass.
yeah.
But once perimenopause sets in and the estrogen levels are all over the place, you're going to start losing a massive amount of lean tissue
And see,
if
that's
you.
a, and see that's a good point. That's a good point you made there as well, Patrick. That when you're young, you can get away with this shit, but as you get older, things change. Your body
Yeah.
changes hormonally. This is why I love working with women, because women are more complicated than men. With men, I find it's very, very easy. You just give men a program, they lose the weight. It's very, very easy. They put on muscle, very, very easy. But with women, there's so many factors that need to take in place, and the biggest
Yeah.
factor is hormones. That's the
Yeah.
biggest factor, and
Absolutely.
and if you're taking the main driver away from the female body, in my opinion, which is fat, you're going to run into major problems. The female body
Yeah.
cannot run on glucose. It cannot run on carbohydrates because it's gonna get into this panic situation. And we know women, they struggle with hunger very easily. They get angry on a regular basis. There's honestly, the list goes on and on and on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
It's crucial. Hormones are
it's
crucial.
absolutely crucial. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely crucial.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree.
I have that question. I assume from what you're saying about your coaching is that you apply forms of exercise. Can you tell us about that? What kind of exercises you recommend, and just how do you apply that? People, how do you
Right. So,
introduce them to that, especially if they've not exercised in the past?
yeah, that's a very good question. So it differs very much for men than for women in my program. So just to quickly talking about men, for men, I introduce body weight exercise. No, I should say like this. It A man can choose what he wants to do. If he wants to go to the gym during my program and start lifting weights, I'm totally happy with that. If they don't know what to do, I'll work with body weight workout programs, especially because you can do them at home. They're very effective because I've seen it on myself. You can, when you travel and you got a hotel room, you just get onto the floor, you do your push-ups, you do your squats, you do your things. It's very easy. You don't have to go to the gym. A lot of people don't have enough time either to go to the gym, to drive
Mm.
there. So body weight exercise, I really like. Also, because as we get older, if we've never worked out with weights before and you're 50 years old and you start lifting weights, I've seen this myself in my own experience, you can easily get into injuries as well. And once you're
Mm.
injured, now you're out of the game for a while and then you're going to fall off the wagon. Whereas if you do body weight exercises, it's way less likely to injure yourself.
Mm.
For
And
women,
yeah, and
sorry,
I totally agree with you, Patrick, because this is something that I'm always saying to women, that if you can't lift your own body weight, then you're pretty much you're wasting time going to the gym. I'll tell you the reason why. If you're doing a chest press, anybody can sit on a machine and just do that. Just move the weight from A to B. But can you do a press up?
yeah,
And most women can't even do a press up. Can't even
no,
do one.
And
And
I
when
can.
you and when you think about it, if you're in a situation where let's say you're hanging off a cliff and the only thing you can do is pull yourself up. If you're not able to pull yourself up over that cliff, you're going to fall.
yeah,
So you know what I mean. And like you
yeah,
said, like as we get older, we should be focusing on things that are going to improve our condition. So if able to bend over, able to squat, you're not going to be able to do that if you're sitting in a leg press machine. So
yeah,
just sitting down on a chair, standing up. Eventually, you'll have the leg strength to squat yourself. Then you can say, right, okay, now how can I make this more challenging? Maybe I'll hold a kettlebell in my hands. So I think you're absolutely correct.
yeah,
I think we've lost our identity when it comes to training. Functional training is massive, and this is how people are getting better as they get older because they're lifting their own body weight. I'm not against the gyms. I train in a gym. I'm not against that at all. But I think if you're how can I explain this? If you're avoiding the foundation, the basics, I just believe that it will catch up on you later on in life.
yeah. Mm, exactly. I think you mentioned a very good word, and I changed my approach a little bit. I started off my coaching business as carnivore and fitness, and I changed it to functional carnivore
Yeah.
because I came to the realization that at my age, for both men and women, what I want is longevity.
Yes.
What I want is I still want to be able, when I'm 80 years old and there's somebody calling my name behind me, I want to be able to just turn around like that and not
Mm,
having to slowly turn around because I'm
mm,
so stiff. So I want people to have functional exercise. I don't care if you got big muscles, but you can't even tie your shoelaces
mm,
because you're
mm,
too stiff. So
mm.
I got introduced again, social media introduced me to the mace bell, the steel mace. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
It's like
No.
this big, long metal stick with a ball on the top, a big, heavy ball, and you got them in different weights. So now you're doing exercises with, I think it's about 95 centimeter long metal stick with the entry level one that I work with as well is 4.5 kilos, 10 pounds.
Okay.
Um, it kind of looks like a warrior tool, if you wish, from the old days. That when you start working with that, you don't just lift it in a straight line, because with a lot of even with body weight workouts, it's all like up, down, left, right.
Mm,
This introduces a whole lot of rotational force in your body as well. So not only are you working with, and 4.5 kilos, 10 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but if you put it at the end of an almost 1 meter stick, it's
mm,
damn heavy, I can tell you.
mm.
With that,
Wow.
you start basically using flow exercises, which means that you're doing your squats with it, you're doing your lunges with it, you train your upper body, you train your lower body, you use your left hemisphere of your brain, the right hemisphere of your brain, and you do a lot of rotational
Yeah,
exercises. So
yeah.
now you're working for longevity, not just for strength. The
Mm,
strength comes automatically because your body is on fire the whole time you got that mace bell in your hand. But
mm.
you're also doing a lot of rotational stuff. So you keep your body supple and you don't just become a 60-year-old who looks amazing, but who cannot tie his own shoelaces or her
Exactly.
own
Yeah,
shoelaces.
yeah. I think.
And that's why in my program, sorry, I just want to add something to
Go
it.
ahead. No,
And
go
that's
ahead,
why
Patrick.
in my program, the same with the men's program, but also the women's program, I integrate yin yoga as well, because
Yeah.
we can work on these muscles, and it's super important because of the loss of muscle, and especially with women, the problems with losing bone density. But you also want flexibility, and especially with women, once they're in perimenopause and beyond, and the estrogen levels start to change, and eventually, of course, pretty much drop well, not to zero, but extremely low. It has a massive effect on their joints as well. So keeping your body supple, doing yin yoga, keeping your keeping that flexibility in your body is super important, so that yes, when you're 80 and you still have the flexibility that you need in order to be healthy. So I integrate yin yoga. It's actually pretty much a mandatory thing in my program for people to. The yang side is the workouts, but you need to balance the yang with the yin. You cannot
Yes.
only do yang,
Mm,
especially at an older age. Again, when you're 20, 25, you can go to the gym 7 days a week. You can
mm.
go for 3 hours. It's all fine. But once you get older, you need to balance the yang with the yin. And that's why I use yin yoga in my programs as well.
I totally agree with you.
Very
Honest,
interesting.
I'm on board. I'm on board with this. I think you've nailed it. I know for myself. Like I'm in my 50s at the moment. I might over the years my training has changed, and I'm doing more like body weight work now. Like you mentioned, Patrick, because I want to be able to do this now when I'm in my 80s. I want to be able to bend over. I want to be able to squat down nice and low, and I'm focusing more on mobility work now these days,
Yes.
like stretching, breathing, all that kind of stuff. I'm still doing the training, but I don't do anywhere near the volume that I used to do. Nowhere near. Like I'm
Yeah.
only in the gym literally 3 days a week now, and I'm only training for like 25 minutes, half an hour max. That's it. Because I
Yeah.
and what I'm doing is I'm doing half and half. So I might do like say I might do some press ups one day, maybe another day I might do some dumbbell work, another day I might do some barbell work, but I'm changing it around. I'm not just focusing on the one thing all the time where what I used to do in the past. Whereas I just go into the gym, I pick up a set of dumbbells and I'd go to work. At my age now, like you mentioned, I'm looking at longevity, and I see that a lot with people at the moment. I'm like, okay, forget about going to the gym. Like I said, if you can't bend over, or if you can't do like a normal body weight squat, and you can't squat like really, really deep, you can forget about going to the gym. We're not going to the gym unless you can do this first. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, you can put them into the gym, but if they're doing a movement and then they end up cracking something or they end up hurting themselves, it's like, well, you've defeated the purpose. So go
Yeah.
back to the
Absolutely.
foundations. Go back to what your body can do first. Your body will heal in the right direction. You'll become flexible, you'll become mobile, you'll become a lot stronger. Like when you think about it, people that end up in prisons that have no gyms, why do they end up walking out of gyms jacked? Because they're doing
Exactly.
pull-ups, they're doing press-ups, they're just doing the basic stuff. So I think we underestimate that how powerful bodyweight workouts can be.
That raises a question for me because what I do is I walk every day. I'll do 2 miles and some intentional walking, and I do 3 days a week. I'll do muscle resistance, and Monday is upper body, and Wednesday is lower body, and Friday is upper body, and I just keep going that way. Is there a point between both of you to give me that opinion where I need to graduate to something a little bit harder or more difficult than just progressively increasing the weights that I'm moving? And to kind of change it up, I'm really fascinated by this mace bell. I looked it up while you guys were talking, and it that and the kettlebells interest me. So what could you recommend for someone to do if they've been doing something routinely for years all along? And I do push-ups, but what's a little change up to bring about? Because what I can do is I can get up from the floor in a seated position without using my hands.
Mm,
And at
Amazing.
74, I think that's pretty good. I'm
Amazing.
on the
mm,
floor
mm,
with
mm,
my
mm,
grandchildren, and
mm.
race after them, and I'm very happy about that kind of fitness. But I want to do a little bit more, maybe to improve. So what should I do?
So for
What would you
me,
like to improve?
I yeah. So for me, what I would be looking at, Victoria, is like Patrick said, like what are you trying to improve? But what I would
Um,
say is what I also is what I would say is, I think it's important to keep your body guessing. So don't get too comfortable doing the
See,
same
that's
thing
the
over and
issue. I'm
over.
too complacent. I've been doing the
Yeah,
same thing, I want to say, for 10 years. It's the
yeah.
same. All of it's the same. And I'm
See,
concerned that
yes,
I'm not going to really develop as I could
yeah.
be
See,
because
when
I
you
have
do,
no guidance
yeah.
at this
See,
point.
when you do the same thing over and over and over again, your body
Hmm.
just gets used to that. But you need to give your body a new stimulus. So that's why
Yep.
Yeah.
if you give your body a new stimulus and just add in
Hmm.
an exercise, and you're like, whoa, this is really really tough. Eventually, in time, that exercise
Hmm.
will get a lot easier. So it's like doing a press up for the very very first time, and it's like I can't even do one. But eventually, that one will
Hmm.
lead to 10 reps. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you can do something different. So I think
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say, I don't know what Patrick thinks about this, but I just think that you need to keep your body guessing all the time. You can't just relax, or you can't just stick to just one
Hmm.
particular routine and do that for the rest of your life, because your body's never going to adapt and your body's never going to change.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I do want to say, first of all, kudos to what you're doing already, Victoria. It's
Well,
quite
thank you.
amazing. At 74 years old, I mean, you're the age of my dad, and there's no way I see him doing anything like what you were just describing. So even if you were to keep on doing what you're doing, you're already doing better than 99.9%
Mm,
of the other people in their 70s out there.
mm,
So
mm,
even I would say just continue and you're not going to regret. However, if you want to improve, just as what Mark says, you need to keep your body guessing. And I think, for example, and I don't want to plug the mace bell because I got no affiliation with it, but I think it keeps your body guessing the
yeah,
whole time because you're
yeah,
making these continuous flowing moves. So you're using your body the whole time, and there's a million different exercises you can do with
Really.
it. It works
Hmm.
mm,
on your balance.
yeah,
It works on everything,
yeah,
and integrating that will always keep your body guessing because yes, what you say, Mark, is very true. You can in the first time you cannot do a single push-up. Eventually you can do 10.
Hmm.
You can make some variations on push-ups. You can do your diamond push-ups. You can, if you're really strong, I don't know if that's still possible for you, but you can do archer push-ups, but you're still doing push-ups. And
yeah,
what I want is, and that's why I changed my handle from carnivore and fitness to functional carnivore.
yeah,
What I want is functional. What you do should be functional. And if
yeah.
you can sit on the floor and you can get up, that means you're training, you're doing functional training.
Exactly.
But if
Yeah,
you feel like you're going to the gym 3 times a week and you're repeating the same program, Start doing something completely else.
Yeah.
Start working with kettlebells when
Yeah.
your body is not used to it. Start doing halos. Start using those kettlebells. Get yourself a mace bell as well. And all of a sudden, now your body needs to do completely different things.
Mm.
Don't say goodbye to the weights, especially if you like it,
Mm.
but mix it up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Because like
like
we,
the flow
yeah,
of the kettle of the mace bell,
yeah.
the flow, the choreography. It's just
Because
Yeah,
at the end,
fascinating.
because at the end of the day, Victoria, yes, as we get older, strength is important and building muscle is
Oh
important.
yes.
But
I
other
gotta lift
factors,
those grandchildren.
yeah, but other factors are important as well, like Patrick mentioned, like balance, your core strength, your
Hmm.
flexibility, your mobility,
Yeah.
your breathing. It's not just going into the
Mhm.
gym and getting stronger. Anybody can go into the gym and get stronger, but if you're not focusing on the other stuff, you lose it as you get older. You really,
Mhm.
really do.
yeah.
Like when you think about it, like I said, most people, then when they get older, they can't even bend over. They can't even tie their shoelaces.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I see that all around me. I know I'm in better shape than my age peers, and I feel so bad for them that they need walkers or canes or they
Mm,
can't get
Yeah.
themselves out of a chair.
mm,
And I don't even think about that.
yeah.
It's not even a
And
problem for me.
And do you ever notice as well when people are at that age, they literally have to hold onto the chair and they have to get somebody
Yeah,
to get them to lift them
it's
up.
very,
They
very
can't even get up.
sad.
Yeah.
They don't have they don't have the strength to get off the chair without holding onto the chair.
What I also wanted to add to that, what I've also come to realize by following Dr. Sims a lot is what is very important, especially for women, for men as well, but especially for women, because you're losing your bone density, and
Yeah.
so many women are dealing with brittle bones,
Mm,
is doing impact exercises. So
yeah.
jumping, doing
Mhm.
high jumps,
Yeah.
I
you know,
tried the
plyo.
plyometrics.
Yeah,
Is
the
that what it is?
plyometrics. Yeah,
Plyometrics.
exactly.
Mhm.
Doing box jumps, doing just high jumps, just 10 high jumps where you tuck your knees as high up as you can. So you get, and then not as you come down, you don't just sink through your knees and come back up like a suspension. No,
Mm,
you bang back onto the floor so that your bones stay strong as
mm,
well. That
mm,
is a very important one. And then there, of course, there's also just the cardio, but not the cardio as in being
Yeah. Jane Fonda.
on
No,
the
yeah.
yeah. Right, exactly, not that one, but
No.
short cardio sprints, 30
Mhm.
seconds,
I have been sprinting.
full out
Yeah.
sprints, and then give yourself 4 minutes to completely recover
mm.
so your heart rate is completely back to normal, and then 30 seconds like at 110% of what you're capable of doing sprints to keep the cardiovascular system healthy
Yeah.
there as
Mm.
well.
Well, I do them, and I do want to confess that in the last 6 years, I've had 3 DEXA scans, and I have no osteoporosis
Amazing.
That's
at
amazing.
74.
Amazing.
I have a little bit of osteopenia in my right hip, and I said, where did that come from? Because I don't know why
Yeah.
it's there, and I walk so
Yeah. Yeah.
much. So yeah, but I know it really truly makes a difference, and this diet makes a difference. And
That's what
I'm
I was
in my
gonna.
Yes, of
7th year.
course.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
diet.
That's.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, Victoria. Go. Sorry. So I was
Yeah, I'm
interrupting you there.
done.
Sorry.
I'm done.
No, yeah, so this is one thing I love about the carnivore diet because I'm really looking forward now to the next 10, 15, 20 years to see what I can actually do. Whereas before, like if you had said to me like 10 years ago, I would have been really worried about getting older. Like, am I going to end up in a nursing home? What's going to happen to me? All this. But now I'm really excited because I know I can keep doing this for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I know I can.
Yeah,
I know I can. And I know it's just about adapting the exercise that you do. It's not about just doing the same thing over and over and over again. As you get older, I know in another 10 years' time, my training's going to have to adapt. The 10 years after that, my training's going to have to adapt again. The 10 years after, when I'm 80, I'm not going to be able to do the training that I'm doing now. I'm going to have to adapt to certain styles of training. And that's okay. As long as I'm moving
yeah,
my body and I'm flexible and I'm mobile and my balance is good and everything is just good, I don't give a shit. Because at that stage now,
yeah,
I don't care about looking ripped or shredded. It's like Patrick mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
It's about longevity, keeping your bones
Yes.
healthy,
Yeah.
keeping your mindset fresh, your vision fresh, your balance fresh, everything.
yeah,
That's the key to longevity. Not just putting on not looking at someone and saying, okay, he's got a six pack.
Yeah.
You grow out of that. Trust me. When you get
Hmm.
older, it's like, okay, that's gone now.
Yeah, you
you
have to.
you know,
Yes.
yeah, your happiness comes into play, your mental health comes into play, your overall health comes into play. And if you need to adapt and take a step back from what you used to do in the past, then so be it, because this is what's going to keep you
Yep.
going in the long term.
Yeah, because when you're 80 and you got grandchildren, and I understood you already have grandchildren,
Hmm.
Victoria, then you want to be able to run around with them.
I
That's
do.
functional
Yes,
Yeah,
exercise. You want to be
that's my
able,
goal. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
you don't want to be, well, as a woman, of course, it's going to be different anyway, because you'll never be able to be bulky at a later age. But as a
mm,
guy, you can still get quite bulky even at a later age. But
mm,
if what does it serve you if you cannot even run with your
exactly.
grandchildren and play a game of
Exactly
football
true.
or play a game of tennis or
Yes.
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
100%, 100%.
I set myself, I wrote about half a year ago, I put it in my notes, my goals for when I'm 90 years old. I still want to be able to do 10 pull-ups. I still want to
Mm,
be able to do 30 push-ups. I still
mm,
want to be able to do 40 squats. I don't know. I'll revise it when I'm 80 because
mm,
maybe this is way beyond, but I want to be able to still do all these things, because if I can do these things, then I also know that I can run around with my grandchildren if I
exactly,
ever get there.
exactly.
Yes.
And things like that are priceless. You don't get those times back.
Yes,
Absolutely
it's very
priceless.
true.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
man, they really are.
And this is this now we're not even talking about getting sick,
Mm,
about getting
Oh,
the standard
yeah.
diseases like
mm,
cancer and heart disease. Now I
Hmm.
know, okay, heart disease. Okay, let's change the topic there a little bit, because that I find an interesting one as well. Heart disease, of course, is very much diet related. Cancer
mhm,
as well. We'll get to that in a moment. But with our diet, we can pretty much, unless we are extremely unfortunate, we can pretty much take care of our hearts until a very old age. Cancer, of course, as well. However, cancer is a much bigger topic because we're being exposed to environmental toxins, we're
Yes.
being exposed to air
Environmental
pollution,
issues.
we
Exactly.
don't know what we were exposed to when we were
Hmm.
younger. Maybe we lived in
Yeah.
a house full of asbestos and
Hmm.
eventually that bites us in the ass. So I cannot say that through my lifestyle I will never get cancer, but I am pretty fucking sure. I would like to say that through my lifestyle, I come from a family with heart disease. My grandpa died of a heart attack. My dad had his first heart attack when he was 42. He
No
had a
more.
stroke when he survived. He had a stroke about 15 years ago. He survived. He just had a triple bypass. That is all lifestyle related. So I pretty much dare to say, and if it ever happens to me and I die, I will not know anyway. I won't know anyway because I'm not there anymore. But I dare to say that is not what's going to happen to me, and I want to reduce the chances of getting cancer or any other ailments, or even like dementia, which also runs in my family, and
Yes.
Alzheimer's. Um, Reduce that as much as I can, and I believe that through diet and exercise, that's the best thing I can do. I cannot
Exactly.
affect the
Exactly.
way how if I live in a
Mhm.
city and there's buses driving around and diesel fumes, I got zero
Yeah.
effect on that.
Mhm.
But what I do have effect on is what I put in my body, my thoughts, my sleep, and my
Mhm.
exercise.
yeah,
Yep, this
100%.
lifestyle of fitness and diet really helps with your immunity. I mean, my grandkids come in, they always have a runny nose and they're on the carbs all the time because that's what they eat at home. Their parents
Yeah.
won't certainly listen to me, but I don't get that. Maybe I'll get a little fit for a day or so, but my immunity is tremendous against
Mm,
their
Amazing.
constant chain head colds and whatever. And that my granddaughter's even had COVID twice and I never got it from her. It was just, it's so much easier and I never get sick in general.
mm,
But
This
it makes total
lifestyle does
sense.
it. It's working.
It
mm,
makes total sense. I mean, you fuel
Yeah.
your body with what it is
Mhm.
supposed to be fueled with so it can work in an optimal way. If you piss in the gas tank of your car, it's not going to drive very
It's
well.
not going to
exactly.
work. Yeah,
It
Yeah,
just
exactly.
doesn't
Yeah.
work. So if you feed your car the perfect fuel, it will drive. It doesn't mean it's never going to get broken, but
Mhm.
it will work as good as it can possibly work. The same with our food, our diet, our sleep, our thoughts. If we keep those as healthy as possible, yeah, we create as strong body as possible. Surely there's genetics involved as well. Not even when it comes to disease, but some people just are genetically more prone to maybe getting more colds
Yeah.
or whatever. But but you have there's the epigenetic part of it, but still, by just eating how we're supposed to be eating and moving how we're supposed to move and reduce our stress and improve our sleep quality, we can do as much as we can. And you're a beautiful result of it, Victoria.
Well, I do have one more brag. I've had 3 CAC tests, which is the hard
Kelsey.
calcification
Yeah.
test. My scores in the I've been carnivore 7 years. In the 7th year, my scores have always been 0.
Amazing.
And my doctor believes
Amazing.
that the longer you're on carnivore, the lower your score will be on the
Mm,
CAC test.
absolutely.
And
So your
Women,
doctor is pro carnivore.
yeah.
oh yes, Dr. Adam Nally. Have you heard of him?
Mm,
Amazing.
He's on
No.
YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's he's very rare to be, so he's a carnivore himself. So yeah, it's
Right.
unusual.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
I always mention to women when I'm working with women, I always mention your name, Victoria, because I'm like, okay,
Oh yeah,
you need to see this woman. She looks incredible, and she
show up with
talks.
my medical records. Hey everybody.
Yeah, it's just, but it's amazing. I love having these conversations with you because, and don't take this as a criticism, but you're just unbelievably educated. You know exactly what you're talking about. It's like you look amazing. You're basically,
Thank you.
like Patrick mentioned earlier, you're a role model. You're living proof that this shit can be done at
Yeah.
any
I'm trying
age.
to be. I want to spread the news about this diet and fitness. It works hand in hand, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's because like
Spread the gospel.
absolutely because it's such a pity that we're seeing people that are younger and they're going through so
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
pain, and it's
it's
just
awful.
it's like
Children too.
all you want to do
Obesity.
is just go over. Yeah, all you want to do is just go over to them and say, listen, I can see what you're doing. You just need to listen to me. Do this. Take a step back from everything that you're doing at the moment, the medications, the exercise. You're putting your body through so much stress. Just take a step back and let's just go back to the basics. Like Patrick said,
Yeah.
just go back to the basics. Train at home. Can you sit up and down off a chair? Let's improve on that. Let's improve on
Yeah.
your diet. Let's improve on your diet, and let's see what happens. Let's walk every single day. Let's go back to nature. That's all we need to
Yeah.
do. Just go back
Yeah.
to nature,
Yes.
and let's see what happens. And if your body automatically improves, well then you never have to go back into the system ever again. And that's what we're all saying here. So Patrick, I want to be a little bit respectful of your time, but before I let you go, if there's anybody listening to this at the moment that's over 40 and they're giving up on life and they're at a situation now where they're just like, what can I do? What message would you give these people?
I would tell them that it's such a cliche, but the cliches are often true. It's never too late. It is
Mm,
never too late. I'm always amazed by the capability of our bodies to heal. If we give it what it needs, your body will heal. Surely when you're older, it will take more time because also probably you've been doing decades of the wrong thing and you're not going to change overnight. You're not tomorrow all of a sudden going to be a different person, but give it time, give it dedication, and you will be able to become the next Victoria.
Yeah, there we go. You're funny. Yeah, I will. That's great advice. It's never too late. Get going. Do it
It is,
now.
it's such a terrible cliche, but the thing about cliches is they're true. It
mm,
is never too late, even when you're 70. I mean, what do you have to lose? If you're on a
mm,
path of destruction and you feel like you're getting older, you have two choices. You're either going to work on it. It's definitely not going to get worse. It can only
mm,
get better. Or you continue what you're doing and it's going to get worse. So which path are you going to choose? Are you going to you're going to choose the path of trying to get better, and you'll be surprised how much better you can get, because the body, we're not broken.
mm.
We've just been doing the wrong thing to ourselves for too long. But
Yeah,
Yes.
give the body what it needs and you'll be surprised how you can flourish.
well said. Well said.
Yes. Well said.
With that said, Patrick, where can people go to find you?
Instagram, Functional Carnivore, and my website, functionalcarnivore.com. Very
Uh,
easy. Even
and
on
Vic,
YouTube, Functional Carnivore.
Amazing. And you're looking for clients at the moment. You're doing coaching inquiries at the moment.
Yes, I'm always happy. I'm always happy to start a program. I'm about to launch a simple 8-week online program, kind of a self-study program. I'll be launching that hopefully in October because I'm going away for 2.5 weeks tomorrow. Other than that, I do group programs with men and women and one-on-one coaching. But and if you need something in between, it's possible as well. You don't need to fit within anything that I offer. Just come to me, tell me, let's have a chat. Tell me what you're looking for, and we'll make it happen.
Amazing. Absolutely. We'll put all those links below.
Yes, I
Um,
got it there. Got it down.
I'll, but Patrick, it's been an absolute pleasure. Your story is
Thank
incredible.
you.
Keep
It
keep
was a beautiful
keep
conversation.
keep spreading the
Yes.
good work because you're
Thank
doing
you for
amazing
your
on
work.
social media and just keep killing it.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. I really appreciate it.
And we'll speak
All
soon.
right.
Bye bye.
Okay.
All right. Bye
Bye
bye.
now.